Welcome back to the Love Living Local 315 podcast with your hosts, Scott and Kelly Greats. In today's episode, we're thrilled to introduce you to Bre Rauscher, the powerhouse behind Renegade Kickboxing. Bre's story is one of resilience, passion, and reinvention. After moving back home to central New York, she used her background in physical therapy and her love for kickboxing to create a unique, empowering space. Renegade Kickboxing, it's more than just a gym. It's a safe space where fitness meets mental health, energy work, and personal growth. Bre's commitment to helping others find their inner strength and transform through movement has made Renegade a true gem in our community. So sit back, relax, and allow us to dive into this conversation with Bre Rauscher, her inspiring journey, and her vision for Renegade and this incredible impact that she's making right here in the 315. All right, Bre, let's start with why you're terrified.
Seriously? That's our first conversation? Put on the spot about my life.
I know, that's my icebreaker. It is funny because we do this on the regular and we lose sight sometimes that it's not a normal thing for most people.
Yeah. I mean, Renegade is like, you know, it's my soul outside of myself. So I'm like exposing it to the world. And I'm like, now I'm explaining, you know, my thought process behind it. So it's a little scary.
Well, you did a really good job on the form that you sent us.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So talk to us about Renegade. So this is Renegade Kickboxing. Yes. You've been doing it for over a year now.
No,
formally.
7 months.
7 months.
We're a baby.
My research and department failed me on that one.
It's
Someone's
right there.
fired today.
It's right there.
I didn't read the show notes.
You did not.
7 months? You've been doing it for 7 months? Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So this journey kind of started a couple years ago. I'm a physical therapist by trade. I have a doctorate in physical therapy. I worked for the VA for about 7 years, kind of lived all over the country, ended up home, which is upstate New York. I grew up in Boonville. Worked for the VA. Ton of people with mental health, not issues, but, you know, mental health needs.
Struggles.
And I was just like, I can't do what I need to do here. Like if I'm kind of regulated by my license and I'm regulated by the government and I'm regulated by all of these things. And I'm like, God, I got to do something different. And when I lived in Texas, I started kickboxing myself because I was struggling with mental health issues, anxiety and stuff like that. And I'm just like, they gave a free trial. So I went in and I'm like, whew, this feels good. Like it feels good to hit things, right? And not get in trouble for it. Moved back to New York and I didn't have that here. And I'm just like, New York is very different than Texas as far as like there, we lived in Austin. So we had tons of things to do, plenty of opportunities to kind of get activity in there. And when I moved back to New York, I had my 2 kids, single mom now, living with my mom. And I'm just like, oh my God, I need something. So kind of the culmination of all of that was like, I'm done. Like I walked into work one day and I'm like, I'm done. And I'm like, so what do I do? And Renegade was it. I'm like, if the space doesn't exist, why can't I create it?
Right.
Like I love creating and I love, you know, my boss is amazing. She gives me some time off once in a while and
better than my boss.
Stop. So Renegade is it's a national.
It is me.
It's just you.
It's me.
Okay, I didn't know if you were like
Franchise?
CrossFit
Like
or something
No.
like that, like Fit Body, where there's different branches in different locations.
No, I'm
this is
the pilot.
nice.
We'll see if we branch out eventually.
All right, so walk us through what a class looks like.
So you walk in and I've got all the bags kind of set up. We've got a mat. So once you're on the mat, like you're barefoot, you have a water bottle and you don't leave that mat till we're done. You get a battle board. So that's kind of specific to what I do. Battle board is basically a whiteboard and we've got some markers. And we talk about some form of mental health topic. So like sometimes we'll talk about the moon phases and how that's affecting it, kind of manifestation and intention setting and different energies and frequencies, like vibrational frequencies and stuff like that. Sometimes we're talking about things that are going on in our local area. And we're like, hey, there's a plant show today. How do plants make you feel? How do we incorporate this into your life? Or like, we talk a lot about emotions. So a lot of people struggle to feel them. And if we don't feel them, they get suppressed inside of our system. We get sick.
Yeah.
But usually we will incorporate the battle board into our bag work. So I'll be like, okay, who's pissed today? And Most people.
Yeah.
About
Most
something.
people are pissed about something.
I'm like, my 5:30 class, pissed. 7:30 in the morning, they're kind of okay.
fresh, right?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And I'm like, I coach you like through it. I'm just like, you're going to beat the heck out of this bag for a full minute and you just go insane on this bag. And then I'm like, all right, we're done. We're going to do some breath work. We're going to breathe through it. We do some intention setting at the end and then we're done. And I'm like, okay, leave it on my mat. Go do your thing.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
It's unique.
Yeah.
Very unique
Yes.
to showing up to a group fitness class and just lifting weights.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
That's great.
How big are the groups?
So right now, during the week, I do max 12 people.
Okay.
On Saturday mornings, we have what's called Savage Saturdays, and that name was gifted to me because I guess it's a little bit more challenging on a Saturday. But we do 24 people on Saturday, so we kind of double up on the bags, and that's more of a partner workout. So it's kind of different in that I'm making you work with somebody and cooperate, and we do a little bit more like figuring things out. I'm like, okay, get the bag across the mat without using your hands or something like that. So they end up kicking, the bag for 40 minutes. Not really, but
Yeah.
it's hard.
How long are they, the sessions?
45 minutes.
45, okay.
Yep.
Talk about some of the other things that you offer besides kickboxing.
So now, very exciting, we have Pound Fitness, and that's once a week. Kaylee does it for me. She does it usually Monday or Tuesday at 6:30. Most of these extra classes are 6:30 at night. We also included in our membership is yoga. So we have a yoga instructor that comes in. She does a lot with like the crystal sound baths, and she's got a buffalo drum, and like the lights are off, and it's pretty cool. Kaylee and I, our pound instructor, are just about to announce that we're going to be doing some children's pound fitness classes.
Oh, cool.
So like,
that's
the kids are going to
awesome.
come in and,
You just
use
did
the
announce
sticks.
it, by the way.
Yeah. Da-da-da-da. Spoiler alert.
That's cool. What
Yeah.
ages?
That's not announced yet. We're going to figure it out.
Okay.
So I think probably under 9 years old. So 4 to 9. We'll see, depending on, I've got a 4-year-old son and I would have to be in there with him. My 5-year-old daughter, she'll be perfectly fine.
Okay.
So, it depends on your kid.
And then I saw on the website also personal training,
Yep.
a 4-week program. So
Yes.
it's not just classes.
No. So the personal training is really if somebody just wants to kickbox and they don't necessarily want the energy work piece of it, the mental health aspect of it, I'm like, sure, come in. I'll teach you how to kickbox. It's
So that's a one-on-one.
Yep. I do one-on-one. And then right now I've got a couple, like they're a couple. So they come in together. The 4-week challenge, I think that you're talking about is solely the mental health aspect of it. So you work with me one-on-one. We talk about intention setting. We talk about your vibrational frequencies, anywhere that you're having either mental blocks or personal blocks or life blocks. And we're just like, hey, let's figure this out. What's going on? How can we reset you so that your life kind of aligns better with what you want out of it? So
That is so awesome.
yeah. And we're starting actually next month a LIT class. So LIT stands for light in the darkness. So it's an energy work class. And again, that's energy work, but it's in a group setting. So it's an hour a month. We meet, we're like, hey, what's going on? Usually as a collective, kind of like in communities, certain things, we all respond kind of to the environment around us, and we're all in similar environments. So usually we have a common theme that we need to talk about. 99% of my population is women. So it's a lot of like self-concept, self-esteem. A lot of that stuff was based and founded, or our foundations were when we were children. So like if those aren't challenged as we age, we just continue to create the same cycles that we did growing up.
All right. So this is all my jam. I love all this
Yes.
stuff.
Okay.
Scott would totally be in for
Please
this.
come.
Well, the 99% women scares me. We can talk
Why?
about that.
He is so good with women. Stop it right now.
I mean,
You can't say that.
So I'm going to tell you, it's intimidating. Like my boyfriend won't come. I'm going to call him out publicly right now.
That's fine. Yeah.
And just be like,
Sounds like we have a lot in common.
yeah, I'm like, get in here. And he's like, I don't want to intimidate the women. I'm like, it's not going to be, it's the other way around.
Yeah, that's what we don't have
Yeah.
anything in common then, because that's what I was concerned with. That would be intimidating to me.
Well, and the other thing that I can say in my experience, a lot of people have the misconception that when they go to a group fitness class, that other people are going to be watching you and judging you. And that is not the case at all, because if you are focused on what you're doing there, you're not looking at anybody else.
You can open my session with talks about paranoia.
Okay. I mean, absolutely. That might be my topic tonight. You never know.
Right.
We'll address it before it even comes out.
But all kidding aside, the taboos, the misunderstandings, the misconceptions, especially with mental health, right? These are difficult conversations to have, to be self-aware, to take that step and say, hey, this is a piece of the puzzle I need to work on.
Yeah.
And then kickboxing is a scary proposition too. We've driven by your place. So it's 310 Broad Street, and we'll make sure we get all the information out. And I'm like, ooh, like I like the idea, but I don't know if I can kickbox. Like I struggle to walk up the stairs sometimes. Like that seems like a really high place to get your leg. But so talk to me about, the mental piece of it, the female to male ratio, the idea of kickboxing, being something that's too hard for me, or so how do you,
like, ability levels,
how do you tackle all of that to get people in the door?
So it's designed actually specifically to address all of those things. Okay. So the mental health aspect of it, we work on that board individually. No one ever sees it. So like I will ask out loud what the question is or what we're working on. You write your answer on the board, you turn it over, nobody ever sees it. So it's you taking in the information, but nobody else is seeing like what's going on in your head, what's going on in your heart, and you erase it at the end. So I'm asking you to do the work on yourself. And then the same thing with the bag, it's all bag work. So like I'm giving you a combo and I'm going to tell you, like, if you're not paying attention to it, you're going to mess it up and you're going to be like, if I'm thinking about the kids or the groceries or what I have to do, like you're not going to get the combo right. And you're going to be like, what is going on? So everybody in there is so focused on their own stuff that it's kind of like you're invisible. Like you're in your own little battle in there. Yeah. And then you said like physicality of it. Like I have a doctorate in physical therapy. Like that is my job. Like I can scale anything from people with injuries, or we work off the bag too. So we have like a minute on the bag, a minute off the bag. So it's a high intensity exercise, but you get a break. And if I see that people are, really struggling, I'm like, hey, take a minute, please step away. Like go get some water, breathe. Like it's not an easy exercise, but I have people in there. My 5-year-old daughter kickboxes and she's fully capable of doing whatever. I've got people in there that are 65 and they're like, I haven't worked out. I've never hit a thing in my life. I haven't worked out in years. And I'm just like, okay, we're going to walk through this. I stand with you. I'm like, you're not in there alone. You're not invisible. So, and as a community, like we have come together to help support people. I think there's kind of this, not new awakening, but sort of where people are like, life's hard enough. Like we're coming to the gym. We've all been here. Most of my people have never swung in their life. Like they've never thrown a punch in their life. And I'm like, it's going to be okay. Like we're here, we're going to figure it out. And I tell people, if you mess up the combos, if you mess anything up, you're here to sweat. Right. So like, it's not a problem. Like you're not getting swung at. So
a huge piece of that, and you went through a lot there.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. But a huge piece of that probably happened quickly, and I want to double back on is the focus. Yeah. Right. These combos, and if you're not paying attention or your mind's drifting off somewhere else, you're gonna mess this up or fall, and so that's so important in this digitally dominated world when we can have I'm guilty of this. Laptop, cell phone, TVs on, there's like 9 different things distracting us and we never really focus on anything. Sure. And so even just taking that 15, 20 minutes of pure focus time away from everything else is way more impactful than people realize.
Oh, 100%. And that's why I'm like, when you're on the mat, the cell phone's gone. Like it's not coming over here. You're going to sit here. We're going to focus, and coming back to like the bag work, like you have to focus on that. And like you get to focus on that. You finally get that time that we ask people to set aside. And we're just like, we're here to support you, taking care of yourself for a little while.
It's so important.
Oh my gosh.
Especially I'm not saying just for women or men, but like when you are stressed out at work or stressed out at home, you need an outlet. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. And to have that and you've created a safe space for your clients to work on both the physical and mental strength, which is awesome because not a lot of gyms are working on the mental aspect of it. How does your own journey influence your approach to fitness?
Oh my gosh, it's the entire journey, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you're creating something. So going way back, like I was always an athlete. I loved it. I loved movement. I loved sport. Then you become an adult and you're like, whoa.
Do I have time for this?
Yeah. Like this is responsibility. Like now I have a job and I've got bills and I've got school and, I took the really long way around and got my doctorate. And I'm like, it took me a long time to get it. I got a teaching degree first. And then I was like, oof, I don't really like this.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, this isn't for me.
I taught for 20 years. I can relate.
I made it like 6 months and I'm like, this isn't it. I'm like, what's the next best thing? I'm like, yeah, let me go spend, $200,000 more and let's figure this out this way. And then, I'm not technically using my doctorate right now either. So
you kind of are though.
I am inadvertently, but legally I'm not.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
I'm like,
fair enough.
Yeah.
Legally, I'm not.
Right.
But again, like I started the kickboxing, I fell into kickboxing. Like I needed some type of movement and I really loved how my body feels when I have like an aggressive form of movement. Like I love spinning. So I kind of love that more high impact, high intensity type thing. And the kickboxing, it was an immediate like rush of high. I'm just like, wow, I feel powerful again. I feel like I'm using my body again. Like I like being sore. And I'm like, I like feeling like my muscles are doing what they're supposed to do. And I had anxiety. I still have it. I don't struggle with it as much as I used to, but that's part of me that I can't escape. And I'm like, if I don't move, like I can't process, I can't think right. I can't settle into what I need to do. So it's obviously now it's my life. Like it's all of it, but I've never been happier. I've never been healthier. I've never felt as good as I do now. And that type of energy spreads. Like you find your people and you also create your people. And there's people that come in and they're just like, I've never been an athlete. I'm not going to do well. And I'm like, change your mindset. Like if we fix our brain, if we change our perception, everything around us changes. So it's a pretty powerful thing to be able to create that and to expand it and share it with other people.
What I like about the idea of kickboxing is as we get older, this has been a conversation we've been having a lot, right? I mean, because we were also athletes and, when you're in sport, you're using so many different parts of your body. And then as we got older, it's like, we'll go for a run. But running is redundant and your body gets used to it and you're only working certain. And then we got the Peloton, which, so the spinning, we enjoyed that. But again, it's only a certain part of your body.
Yeah.
Where kickboxing, two things that I see. One, you're using, I'm guessing, every inch of your body, which is also a full body workout.
Yes.
And then the other thing, we started looking at like these blue zones, right? And where people don't die. They live to be like 100 something.
I'm like, there's a documentary.
Yes, it's very good.
And one of the things that is a common thread in blue zones is people are balanced because, as you know, as a non-practicing doctor, right? Everything kind of goes downhill when that fall happens with someone who's older. They break their hip and it leads to everything awful after that. And so people that live longer, they find, especially in like the Asian culture, because the furniture is low to the ground, they're always down, they're always getting up, they're working their core, they're balanced, they don't fall as much. And that's just a really long buildup to the question of, kickboxing, full body exercise, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
And balance, I would imagine, right? So important things for older people.
Yeah, it's important to establish and not lose. And one of the biggest predictors of hip fractures and fatality is your balance. Like if you're not moving, your body's not used to it, doesn't know what to do. With what we do, because it's fitness kickboxing, we go 1 minute orthodox, which is your left side first. Then we go 1 minute southpaw. So we switch you up and we force you to have to use both sides. And then we do a minute off the bag. So off the bag stuff is sometimes it's a lot of balance stuff. Because if you're kicking, you have to be able to stand on one leg. If you're, we're doing a ton of torque, we're doing a ton of turning, that type of thing. If your system's not used to it, like you're going. And I walk around and I'm like, if I see a deficit, if I see that there's an imbalance problem, if I see that there's like decreased ankle stability, or if there's weakness in your hips, like that's all addressed in there. I'm like, hey guys, we're going to do this now. If I see a bunch of people doing it. So yeah, and I mean, even in the Parkinson's, I don't know if you know anything about that with boxing, but Parkinson's and boxing is like one of the best things that anybody can do to help slow down the progression of Parkinson's disease. So we don't have anybody doing it yet. Might be coming down the pipe, we'll see. But Parkinson's and boxing has like 100% correlation to having better balance, decreased falls, better lifespan.
I like the fact that you have a yoga instructor as well, because that's another thing that this is just my personal therapy session, by the way.
Yeah, I knew you were going to like this one.
I'll send you the bill.
But the my mobility, right? The ability to stretch, like we just don't stretch enough.
I know, for sure.
And so, yoga obviously checks that box as well.
So it's so important to me to have that contrast. because kickboxing can be so intense and it can be so much tightness and movement there. It's actually included in our membership. Like the yoga class is included in our unlimited membership. So I pay for it for my students to come in to her. They don't pay for her.
Right.
So if somebody's not a member, they come in and pay. But other than that, like it's taken care of.
So what is, let's get into membership. You have you have a punch card and then you have a membership, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the punch card is if you buy 10 classes, 10 individual classes, you get it for $150. So you get each class for $15 a piece. That's good for a year.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So if you come in individually, it's $20 a class. And then the unlimited membership is 6 days a week, including once a week yoga, and it's $140 a month.
Wow.
So basically, if you come in 6 days a week, you're paying $5 per class.
Yeah.
Plus you're getting a free yoga class in there, which costs $20 too. So I think it's a decent deal for what you're getting.
And the membership, does it last a year? Is it a year commitment or?
No, there's no commitment. So it's just a month. It's a month to month. I'm not asking you to commit too much to it.
You know, that's awesome because with winter coming up.
Oh, 100%.
You know, a lot of people do like to run or walk or be outside. And unfortunately, where we live for quite a big chunk of time, like 4 or 5 months, that it makes it hard to do. So you're not asking for a year-long commitment. That's awesome.
No, and I also know that like we need to budget. I need to budget. You need to budget. We have kids. We have Christmas. Like I understand that. So I'm not asking you, you know, please don't go broke coming to see me. But, you know, if you can make it work, make it work.
Okay.
Which presents challenges for you as a business owner.
It does.
Because your bills don't change seasonally.
Correct.
You know, so I mean, that's a pretty big risk.
It's a risk, but it's also ethical. Like I want to run this. I'm in it for the long haul. And I'm like, if people know that you're decent, like I'm a human at the end of the day. I do have bills. I'm a single mom. I take care of my kids. They're running around, you know, Renegade all the time. But I'm like, I don't want to take advantage of anybody. Like,
it's not a moneymaker. It's I'm not a money.
I don't mind if it makes money.
Exactly.
I need
you
to keep the
want to
doors
be profitable,
open.
but you're not looking to. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
And I'm like, it's funny because I tell people, I'm like, I work for you guys. You guys keep the lights on. So come see me. If it works, cool. If I'm not aligned with you, please just find something. Find something that speaks to you.
All right, we're talking about money and memberships. You've got a winter ARC promotion. Am I saying that right?
Do, yeah.
Okay.
Do you guys know what a winter ARC is?
I don't.
No.
It was brought up to me the other day because I had said, you know, I'm a business owner and I'm a fitness enthusiast, and the business owner has been taking over a little bit more and the fitness enthusiast has been taking a back seat. And I'm like, okay. So I said, for the next month, I'm going to work out 3 days a week. I'm going to work on my macros. I'm going to make sure that I'm drinking enough water. I'm not going to drink alcohol. Like I'm going to do this. And one of my members was like, that's a winter ARC. I'm like, what the heck is that? It's all over TikTok. So I'm like, okay, let me figure this out. So basically during the winter months, you work on your fitness, you work on your mental health, you come out in the spring and you're ready to go rather than like gearing up in the spring and kind of getting in shape in the summer and then like fall's here again. So the winter ARC special is basically you pay for 5 months and you get a month free. So it's $140 off. So if most of my members have been there longer than 6 months, like most of my members we got some diehard members here. And I'm like, if you're going to be here for 6 months anyway, here's an easy way for you, you know, pay for it up front. You're going to get a month for free. It's a discounted rate for everybody. And, you know, in the spring, we're going to have, I call them my Renegade Army. I'm like, we're getting stronger together. We need people in here together. And then in the spring, we're going to take right off. So.
Are you going to attack people? Are you going to like take over certain towns or lands with your army?
I'm not at liberty to discuss that.
I'm going to try this. You know that I'm very interested in this, right?
Well, yeah, but let me make that your Christmas gift.
Okay. I love that.
My list is pretty short right now for you.
No socks? I'm not going to get socks again?
That's number one.
That's going to be in the stocking.
Winter ARC could be number 2.
And I will say, first trial's free. So you come in, try us for free. No big deal. You love it, cool. If you don't.
And so with this membership, like I could come and do kickboxing in the morning and then I could opt to do pound later that day as well too, right?
You can, but the pound is not included in the membership. It's a separate free. The yoga is.
The yoga is. Okay.
So a lot of people do like my 5:30 kickboxing class immediately right into the yoga.
And they stay. And okay. All right. Good
what is pound?
Pound. So it's pound fitness. So it's weighted drumsticks and you pound, like you drum them to the beat of the music.
Oh, cool.
So it's still, you're working out and you're exercising. It's not kickboxing, but you're doing a ton of squats. You're doing a ton of movements and they're weighted sticks. She shuts the lights off. They kind of glow.
It's Kaylee.
Pretty cool.
I know it's Kaylee. I didn't know what pound was. I know Kaylee. I don't know pound.
Okay. All right.
It sounds like stomp.
No.
The production of Stomp. You familiar?
I am, but
they
it's
use
not
like garbage
that
cans.
different.
But
you're like clapping the sticks instead of pounding things. My kids run around in there and like drum everything they can possibly find, which is kind of the inspiration for the kids class. But yeah. And then Taylor and the cook's right across the street. If you want to grab dinner and a drink, bags square breweries.
Not during my
right
winter
there.
arc.
Well, if you accept the challenge.
That would be one hell of a challenge. We need
do dry January
as we booked our trip to Key West.
When we get back from Key West.
Yeah, that won't be very dry. We got issues. We need you to help us.
We do not have issues.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned your kids a couple of times, Rylan and Brexton.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about them and their age.
They're wild and feral children. And I'm so proud of that. They question absolutely everything. And I'm big at do not accept the status quo. I'm like, think for yourself. I want you to question everything. I feel like the way that and this is nothing against my parents, it's just the way it was. Like I was taught, you graduate from high school with high honors, you go to college, you get a job, you jump on that hamster wheel. And I'm just like, it didn't work that way. Like life kind of changed. And I'm like, I'm not happy. So what do I do to make myself happy? And I'm like, luckily, I guess in my life, I moved away when I was 18, so I lived all over the country. Like I got to go wherever I wanted to go. I got to be exposed to different environments and stuff like that. And then I came back to New York and I'm like, I have all these experiences. Like I can bring them here and I can show people like there's different ways to do things. And with, social media now too, people are connecting all over the place and the thoughts and ideas are very different. So it does give people the opportunity to kind of make a life that they want. And of course, contribute to society. And I think that's a really big thing. I think community has kind of, with the invention of social media, it's hard to have a conversation with a human. Mm-hmm. So coming back to New York, I think it's a good thing here that we are slightly behind the times. Mm-hmm. I mean that as nicely as possible.
Sure.
Like I was able to go trick-or-treating with my kids last night and not like go house to house and not have to worry about too many things. Like that's a great thing about being in the area, but
depends what town you live in.
Yes, it does. I mean, we went to a neighboring town. I'm not going to lie, but you still have that old school.
Yeah, no doubt.
Vibe.
We sat on Kelly's parents' porch last night, and it's cool. Like 7-8 different people, as their kids were getting the cane, like came up onto the porch, and just catching up, and so it's neat to be that cheers.
Yeah.
Atmosphere. Everyone knows your name. It's good and bad.
Yeah. Double-edged sword there. I'm from Boonville. So.
Community is a huge part about, that's one of the reasons that we moved back. We live in Northern Virginia, right outside of DC. Yeah. Loved the hustle and bustle. But when we had our first son, we're like, we need to go home. We want them to be raised in a small community. Yeah. Where
around family, around friends, or the teachers at the school, or all the people we graduated with and went to school with, So talk about community, and so 7 months into this, and it sounds like you've got a good army forming. Yeah. That's not easy out of the gate. So how did that play into it?
Oh, I mean, I think it was kind of divine intervention to get me back home because I was like, I'm never coming home. Yeah, like I'm not.
He was very against it.
Talk about anxiety. I had massive anxiety. I was gone 11 years, and I felt like if I come home, I'm a failure. I'm a loser. People are they're gonna be like, "What? They didn't make it. Right?
You couldn't do it.
You couldn't do it." And in all honesty, I couldn't by myself. Like I was gone, and if my relationship fell apart, and I'm like, I'm here by myself with 2 kids under 3. Like I need help. Mm-hmm. So, I did move home, and I'm so grateful. Like last night I was able to go with my high school best friend and her kids and my sister-in-law and her kids. And like, we got to go do those things, and you create a community wherever you are. I think I'm sure you guys had, a community in DC of friends and stuff like that, but it's just different to be home. It's like that, the dirt that you grew up in, it's just different. That atmosphere is different. And you kind of get that, you create your own circle even here. Like Renegade, I always say I find my people. Like if you're not on the same path as me, you're probably not going to stay at Renegade. Like it's not going to be for you. If you're not willing to work on yourself physically and mentally, you're not going to want to stay, and that's fine. But you got to be ready to do the work. So.
Well, and that speaks to the energy too.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, people are attracted to different energies.
Absolutely.
Well, and I feel like when you're raised in this community, you are just different because you were raised here. When we lived in Northern Virginia, we had neighbors. We lived in a house for like 2 years. And
a townhome. We shared walls.
Like literally shared walls.
We didn't know our neighbor's name.
And we would walk by, they wouldn't even say hello. And I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like when you grow up here in a community that is built on your neighbors looking out for you and, you know, just that the friendships that you create, you go other places and you just can't find it.
Yeah.
Well, takes time.
Well, I'm sure there are other
innate.
places. Yeah.
It's not like I remember, growing up in Boonville, my dad would get phone calls and, you know, he'd call me and my sister and he'd be like, hey, were you guys in town today? And we're like, no. He's like, well, I got a couple phone calls. So yeah, you were. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
So everybody's looking out. But
Yeah.
All right, Bre. We end these with our rapid fire 5 questions. These are light. These are easy.
Okay.
I went easy. I went low key today.
Well, sometimes he tries to make them quick and they are the most in-depth questions.
But now that I know you, I feel like I should have gone deeper.
You can change it.
Because you have depth to you. And you probably want to talk about legacy and things.
Lord.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God. That was one of his questions. What do you want your legacy to be?
I actually know the answer to that one.
Oh, good. Let's keep it.
Do it.
Renegade is my legacy. Like I want it to be given to my children. I want like my children at the end of the day are my legacy. But I want my kids to change the world. I want us to change the world. I want Renegade to change the world. And like for my children, Renegade is the path to do that. In my opinion, like my children will not grow up thinking a 9-to-5 is the only option. They're going to be like, wait a minute, I can do this on my own. My mom did it. So like, why can't I? Like, I want them to think that anything is absolutely possible. And all you got to do is put in the work and maybe ask your mom a couple questions so you don't mess it up along the way. But you know, my kids are my legacy. I know that's cliche, but
it's not cliche, and it's true. And the mess is the work, by the way. Like you want them to. It's the hardest thing as a parent. We're going through this with.
It's important
our
they
oldest
see
is in
that
college now, and you know our heart hurts for him when he's struggling. But I tell my wife all the time because you want to fix everything.
Sure, it's hard.
He needs to figure it out.
Yeah.
And it sounds cold, but that's where we all learn. And we grow.
And as parents, another thing that I know that I am guilty of doing is I give them my opinion and I tell them what to do in a situation where I shouldn't. Mm-hmm. This is your life. You know how you're feeling. You need to make the best decision for yourself. And I struggle with that because as mothers and parents, and we just want to give them what we think is the right answer. Mm-hmm. And that's not always the case.
So part of the spiritual journey that I've been kind of doing with myself is understanding they have their own experience. They have their own journey. They have their own path. And it's definitely not mine. And I don't want it to be mine. Yeah. And it's funny you brought that up. I took my kids to Bald Mountain this year and I'm like, I'm doing it by myself. And there's like cliffs and bears. Of course. If I'm going by myself, I don't care. But like I've got my kids. And it was so interesting just watching them fail and they fell and I'm like, figure it out, get up here. And it was one of the most empowering things as a mom to see your kids fail and be able to figure it out and like get that confidence. Mm-hmm. And I love that.
As long as it's not off the mountain.
They're alive.
I just want to
they made it.
Clarify that for the audience.
I'm not gonna lie,
the children are alive.
My anxiety was very high the entire time and my hands like had death grips. Like I was pretty scared.
Well, Parents of the Year, was it Jenna? We were in Old Forge and all she had was Crocs. And so she was like 3 years old in Crocs.
We did Bald Mountain. She did it, man.
I was gonna say, she's probably perfectly fine.
She's savage. Yep.
She's fine from that experience, yes. Do you want to scale this thing? Do you want there to be like multiple Renegade locations?
I think that's in the works. There's a book called 10X. Yeah. I've only made it a couple chapters in, but I'm like, it's just it's more simple to do things on a bigger scale. And I'm like, if I could explode Renegade and just expand the mental health like I see how it's working for my members. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, if I could figure out a way, not that. When I figure out a way to do it, it will happen.
Yeah. So, 10X is easier than 2X, right? Dan Sullivan.
Yep. That's the book.
Yep. Okay.
Are you interested?
I've read the book.
No, I mean in Renegade. Like, do you want to own a franchise? We can do this right now.
Please.
You got a better chance of me buying a franchise than working out in one.
Oh, man. Another endeavor.
Let's sign up. We'll do the arc. And then if you love it, I'll buy it and you run it.
Oh, my God. Slow down.
I love this.
Breathe. You got to stop oh, my God. All right. Wait, let's get back to the rapid fire 5 easy questions.
It's rapid fire 6 now.
Okay.
And we already kind of talked about the first one.
We did. The first one was favorite place to hike.
Oh, I mean, Old Forge, obviously, yeah.
All right.
Do you have any other places in Old Forge? We always get stuck with the same 2 trails.
So I like, is it Bear?
Yeah.
There's Bear. And then oh my gosh.
Bear and Bald, we always end up on.
There's a weird one near Inlet. It's like something river.
I didn't do, and we did one that was just around a pond too. Remember when we had Joey, we had our dog
boring.
with us and everything. And that was.
in Green Lakes. Like I love Green Lakes. Like that's just a simple.
We never do that.
We've never done that.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
It's out in Chittenango, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. And it's an easy hike. If you got your kids are older, but still you can run it, you can bike it, you can.
The kids run it. They wait for us at the
Kids
top
love
and then
to
they run.
go
Yeah,
fast
for sure.
with everything.
Good for them. Let
Except
them
getting
do it.
out of bed. They're not really fast at that.
I agree. I'm not either.
Favorite season in Central New York?
Oh my God, fall. How can you not
Here we
love
are.
fall here? I know this is my favorite. The smell, the sound, the beautiful colors. It's insane. Anywhere I lived in the country, I always came home in September.
We just did a corporate retreat and we had one of our people fly in from
Chicago.
Illinois. Well, Chicago. And, we take it for granted.
Oh, of course.
And, she was like, oh my God. Like,
This is
you live in the
beautiful.
most beautiful place ever.
Yeah.
And
in the fall.
And here we talk, right. Yeah. Don't blink. It's like 6 weeks.
We have had a great fall this year, I've got to say. Okay.
Yeah.
Go-to mantra when things get tough.
I am divinely guided and protected. That's kind of I'm like, there's a bigger plan out here for me and I'm just kind of on my way through it. I don't have to figure it all out. Like stop trying to control everything because I am the smallest speck. And I'm like, I can't control everything. I'm powerful, but I'm not that powerful.
It's awesome. Most gratifying aspect of the business.
Being able to see people's lives change. It's not something that I expected so quickly, but I'm like, I've had so many people leave their jobs and like go find a passion. And I'm not encouraging please don't. I'm like, our economy will tank, but more than
maybe not.
I don't know. But being able to like hear the stories of people just like, I love this place. I have a girl right now. She's actually training to become one of the trainers at Renegade right now. And she's like, this is my second home. And I'm like, that means something to me. Like I was able to create this space that I wanted to and not really knowing what the heck I was doing as a business owner. And I'm like, okay, like this is happening. So.
Why should people join Renegade Kickboxing?
Because we're cool.
That's a great answer.
Pulled the cool girl card on that.
No, I think I love exciting things. I love new things. And I think it's rare and it's something that everyone should come and experience. And it's free. Like I'm not asking you, to throw your money at me. I want you to try it. And in all honesty, if you don't love it, find something that you love. Yeah. Like I want you to come in and just see like the joy on people's faces, sweating and like getting their muscles toned and everything else and just feeling good. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How do people connect with you?
In person? No, I'm just
we can
kidding.
do that. Well, in person, it's 310 Broad Street in Utica. Great location.
Utica. We have a Facebook account. We've got Renegade Kickboxing, www.renegadekickboxing.com. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram.
Does Kaylee do fun stuff for you on TikTok? Doesn't she I'm not on TikTok.
For a while, she was on TikTok. I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
She's gearing back up with Instagram and Facebook. So I'm kind of like her. I'm a little old school. This TikTok stuff, I'm like, I'm on here, but it's not giving me anything local. So I'm just like, it's fun. It's cool. We get to look really badass when we're on there. Like if you see any of the videos, you're just like, damn, like these girls are crazy. But yeah, any of the social media sites. And then obviously the website is usually the easiest way to get a hold of me.
All right. Bre Rauscher. Did I say that right? Rauscher?
Yeah.
Okay. Renegade Bre. It's just Bre.
I go by Bre.
Cool Bre now. Or Bre Cool, whichever you prefer.
Bre Cool, I like that. Yeah.
Renegade Kickboxing. Thanks for coming in. This wasn't hard, right?
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate your time.
Good conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Love Living Local. As you know, we do not run ads. Our only mission is to shine a spotlight on amazing people doing amazing things here in our local community. If you'd like to support us with this mission, we have 3 ways you can help. You can share our content on social, subscribe or follow the show on your favorite podcast platform, and you can visit our lovelivinglocal315.com website to stay up to date with everything happening in Central New York.